Operation Cannington was one of Suffolk Constabulary's biggest ever criminal investigations and involved the discovery of the largest cache of weapons ever found in the UK to date. The discovery of the weapons came about as a result of officers attending the home address of James Arnold in relation to a report of an assault, and subsequently the initial search found a number of weapons strewn around the house. James Arnold was licensed to hold 17 legally held firearms within his confines of his certificate. The ultimate number of firearms found throughout the search that took place at the home address was 463 weapons. That 463 weapons broke down into 177 rifles, 136 handguns, 88 shotguns and 38 machine guns. Those machine guns broke down into Thompson submachine guns, AK-47s, Uzis and even a Bren gun. There were 24 other weapons such as flare guns also found. But also with that cache was found in a region of about 200,000 rounds of different calibre ammunition, all live. All weapons were able to be used. And again, if you use the analogy, those weapons you would be able to arm 9 coaches, 9 52-seater coaches, each individual with a number of rounds. So that's the vast sort of size of the find. Included in the find was a number of explosives, and those explosives broke down into at least 1,000 metres of detonation cord, military graded detonation cord, and also some commercial detonation cord. Within there were some shape charges. Those shape charges were live. Again, there was a quantity of black powder in excess of 40 kilos. Also contained within the hide was over 400 detonators. Some of those were conventional detonators, but a number of those were electronic detonators. Extremely unstable. The situation we found them in made it extremely unstable in the property and again for the community. The concealment of the weapons was found as a result of the Pulsar search that took place throughout the property, and actually when you looked at the footprint of the property, inside appeared to be smaller than the outside, and actually what officers discovered was a secret hide located at the rear of the side of the premises, actually just off the kitchen area, and this was discovered through a false door. Also within the property was a false hide within the upper main bedroom under the floorboards, which concealed handguns and ammunition. The initial search took place and lasted for 27 days. There was 12 officers working 10 hours a day for those 27 days non-stop to search the 24 rooms. Now, if you can imagine the property is semi-detached, it was important to keep it safe, to keep the public safe and to keep our staff safe from the finds that were going on. And throughout the course of the investigation, the public were told continuously what we were doing, how we were going to do it, because there were a number of controlled explosions which took place over that period. The house itself was contained within 8 acres. Those 8 acres had to be searched. There was a fence line along one side of the property which was constructed of sleepers. Those sleepers were 8 foot high, and you can imagine officers with equipment had to search through that. Contained also within that confines of the property were a number of porter cabins and a double garage. Those porter cabins and vehicles had to be searched, and there was a significant amount of property within there that had to be boxed and catalogued. The weapons themselves were brought back to Suffolk Constabulary location, and where they remain in the armoury and they were secure. Then we undertook to catalogue each of those weapons, meticulously making sure that they were catalogued, serial numbers were recorded, and any forensic data that we needed to have was also taken. We worked in with the military in terms of the weapons that were found at the property, the military to do some of the searching, which required specialist equipment, but also we worked with neighbours to ensure that the weapons that were potentially or could have been used in the mainland UK in some kind of criminal act were checked and gone through the system and the process with neighbours, so that we ensured that we didn't miss anything. As I've said, this was the 5th largest investigation. The cost of it was in excess of £260,000. But what I would say is when we left the property, we left it safe, the community was safe, our staff was safe. It was about reassurance and having the ability to reassure the community that we'd done a good job, and the reputation of Suffolk Constabulary was intact. As a result of that investigation, James Arnold was charged with a number of offences and remanded into prison. James was interviewed over a number of days. As a result of those interviews, he never did tell us where the weapons came from. I have a number of hypotheses around the weapons. Was James Arnold involved in criminality? Was James Arnold involved in counter-terrorism? Those types of hypotheses were quickly discounted, and actually James Arnold appears to have been a lone individual who had a liking for weapons and has always been involved in weapons, and as a part of his the way that he operated was to take weapons and to keep them. And he would tell you that he'd got them and he was never going to allow them to go out. However, you would look at the weapons that he had, and included in that cache was a number of sawn-off shotguns. So today we still don't know why James Arnold had all those weapons and where they came from, because he died in prison and took that knowledge with him to his grave. As a result of the work that the officers undertook, it then transpired that a number of the weapons that were found in the cache belonged to, or had been in the hands of a gentleman called Anthony Buckland, who was a registered firearms dealer. And as a result of those inquiries, we then found 5 weapons that should be in the register of Anthony Buckland. We then went to see Mr Buckland, who was subsequently arrested, and a further search of that premises took place. As a result of the inquiries we undertook, Anthony Buckland was charged with 20 offences of possessing prohibited weapons and also fraud offences, for which he was tried at Norwich Crown Court in December of 2015 and subsequently found guilty unanimously by jury.